Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Claudia Monticelli, the host of this podcast, Let's Talk Soul. Over the years, after having interviewed so many people on so many different topics, I realized that what interested my audience wasn't really the individual topics per se, but was how it impacted them, how it touched their soul. So I'll invite you all to lay back, put your feet up, and if you like what you hear, leave a review, 5-star review. I'd appreciate that. So just enjoy your listening. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Dr. Claudia Monticelli here, the host of the podcast, this podcast, Let's Talk Soul. And, when I mentioned to a woman I know, I said, "Oh, hey, I have a podcast called Let's Talk Soul." And she said, "Oh, it's about music." And I said, "No, it could be about music." And so, for years now, it's been 3 years just about that I've been running my podcast. And even if we have talked about science, spirituality, and usually the underlying factor is always about what people feel in a lot of people call it their gut, in their consciousness. Okay. So, and I like to use the word soul, that is this abstract notion. Nobody really can describe it, So who do we have here today with us? Today I have Anastasia Marie Lindsey. Say hello, Anastasia.
Hello, how's everyone doing?
She's talking to us from Illinois today. Let me give you a little information about her before we drill her for what she wants to talk about, what I want her to talk about. Okay, so Anastasia's, she calls herself a timeless soul, and so she should know what a soul is, right? We'll see. And an author who builds beautiful poems. So she is a poet to capture the hearts of souls, here's that word again, around the world, in the loving and supportive way. She has books that I will have her talk about. And she has a small business called, if I get this right, Solace Holistic Healing and Poetry. It's a mouthful. And she uses different modalities to help others heal, including Reiki, meditation, sound healing, hypnosis, and has recently started her journey into shamanism. Just when others think there couldn't possibly be more, she always enjoys painting, drawing. So we have this underlying idea that she is an artist in many ways and important ways. Let's say, what else did she do here? Singing. She has a voice. She has a voice. She even auditioned for The Voice in 2017. And how did that go, Anastasia?
It was a very amazing experience. I didn't make it, but just the process of singing and sharing my voice, it was a great experience.
Good. Her angelic soul and empathic nature make her one of a kind in this world. And I'll open a digression here, like we all are. We all are one of a kind. Her words take you on so many journeys, and with the strong hope of allowing the reader to return back home safe in love. So there's another key word here, love. And I'll in the description of this episode, I will include her social media should you want to get in touch with her. So Anastasia, what's a nice girl like you doing in not Ohio, Illinois?
Close enough, pretty much.
Yeah, right.
I was born and raised here in Illinois, so all of my family is here, so very close knit with my family. I don't want to travel too far from them, so
yeah. Do you have your own family, or are you still living with your parents? Or
I have my own family. I don't have children, but I'm hoping very soon that my own little spirit baby will make its way to me.
Another little soul coming into the world.
Another little soul.
Yeah. So when I prep a potential guest, they give me an idea, and I we talk and we negotiate sort of what topics we would both feel comfortable talking about. And I see, for those of you who don't have the benefit of video, I'll just explain. I see in the background, there's sort of like a mirror, but I do see a fan whirling around. Is that right? Okay.
Yes.
So it must be very warm.
It's starting to get warm and it gets pretty humid here in Illinois. Yeah,
I bet. I know. Okay, so one of the topics that she definitely is professionally prepared to speak of is energy healing and healing ourselves. And she adds the notion of rewriting our stories. Now, I like that, right before we started rolling, I like that idea of our stories, because everything is a story, right? What about if you start? I'll give you the ball and you start talking, and then I will dive in and ask for clarification every now and then. Go ahead, you're on.
Okay, perfect. So I like to say that we all are in control of our own destinies and our own stories. And that's why I like to start off with rewriting your story, because sometimes there's parts of our stories that are painful, that are traumatic, that are really sensitive to bring up. But we have the power to rewrite our story, to add in chapters, to really spruce up a part of our story. So growing up, I was always sensitive, very empathetic, very in tune with my own.
What did that look like, Anastasia? How did that look like? Give me an example about being sensitive.
So everything, I could feel everything, even when I didn't know I was feeling it. I knew I was feeling something and it was making me upset. It was making me anxious, worried, scared. I had no problem experiencing feelings growing up. If it's a feeling, I experienced it. But more on the sensitive side, where it didn't take much for my little soul to start crying. Very emotional, whether they were happy tears, sad tears, fearful tears. I'm a crier. I always cried, grew up crying, and very empathetic. So I could sympathize and empathize with the person right next to me, even if I never walked a mile in their shoes. I could see that their shoes were worn. I could see that their soul was tired. And I just knew from a very young age that I'm feeling a lot of emotions right now, all the time. And my family never really understood that. If I was crying, they're like, well, what are you crying about? And I didn't have an answer. I'm not sure why I'm crying.
Yeah. I'm As you're talking, I started thinking this key word came up that I in my intro of you, this shamanism, okay? And there's a lot of mystery around this word shamanism, and people say it initiated in Russia, in very, very far east. Others say the Indians, and others say, so there is, but underlying it all, what is the practice of shamanism? If we had to, sort of give a brief summary.
Absolutely. So shamanism for me is connecting with all parts spirit and all parts of a person's soul, even the soul of the earth. So you can connect with parts of yourself, parts of another person, the spirit and energy behind the plants and the earth and objects. And at a deeper level, at a core level, shamanism is learning how to drop ego and to really embody that side of you, or that place of you that is full love, all forgiving, all knowing. And you use that to your advantage to really help yourself and the evolution of other souls in this world. I feel like it's such a broad topic.
I'm going to stop you there now.
Okay.
The key words that have been emerging, this being empathic and being sensitive, and then the shaman. There is a downside to all of this, isn't there?
Yes.
And what is that?
So for me, it's in being in tune with the emotions and feelings and spirits that in a subjective way are less than love and light. We do have that, and we are surrounded by that. And you do come in contact with people who are not embodying their highest self. and you have to learn how to approach this person and
But
to
not
approach
only, I didn't mean not only to approach them, the
them.
downside, the effect that it has on you.
Oh, absolutely. It's
Okay.
very draining. You have to learn how to ground your energy because you can get very
How
depleted
do you do
quickly.
that? How do you do that?
For me, it's being out in nature
Mm-hmm,
or spending time in quiet.
mm-hmm,
Solitude is big for me. I
mm-hmm,
don't like to be alone, but I like to have alone time.
mm-hmm.
That's very therapeutic for me. And for grounding, it's walking outside and being very present with what's going on around me, whether it's the birds chirping, how my feet feel as I'm walking on the ground, because then I'm being back in tune with
Okay.
myself.
Okay. So let
Yeah.
me give you a scenario. All right.
Okay.
You're every day you get up. Okay, I'm just making this up now. You get up, you have your tea or biscuits, whatever. You have a sort of rituals to start your day. You pray, you meditate, you whatever you do. All right.
Yeah.
In the flow of your day, you see clients. In the flow of your day, you notice that strange things happen. Strange things happen. You fall.
Yeah.
When are you going to fall? You don't have heels on, you fall. Or,
Yeah.
you hit your hip onto whatever, a table that's always been in that spot, or things that wake you up, sort of, give you a rude awakening. And
Yeah.
I'm wondering if things like that, that's how it comes out to me when I need
Okay.
my guides are telling me, come on, in your
Yes.
case, when do you know that I don't mean just simply grounding, but
Mhm.
cleansing and clearing completely your energy when you acquire negative energy from your surroundings? Well, how do you do
Absolutely.
that?
So when I know I've been in contact with something that doesn't align with me, a certain energy, frequency, or person, I can feel it in my body. I start to feel sick, nauseous, even fearful. And there's nothing to be afraid of, but I have fear inside of me. I do a spiritual cleanse where I go take a shower
Yeah.
and I imagine the water is running down on me and it's washing away anything that I might have picked up if I didn't start my day with my protective practice.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I just get caught up in the rustle and bustle of
I hear
life
you. I hear you.
and you forget to put your protection around
Yeah,
you.
sure. I got it.
So if I do, I'll just make sure to come home, or if I'm not in a place where I can take a shower, I'll go to a bathroom, a sink, and I'll get a cup full of cold water in my hands and I'll just massage
Yeah,
my
the
face.
water really helps. Yeah, the
The
water
water
really helps.
is very,
Sometimes, as a light worker and a healer myself, I'm prone
yeah.
to this. And, with the hustle and bustle, I forget. Even when I go into internet,
Ah,
I forget, and then
yes.
this craziness starts. And I thought, oh my God, and I think, well, okay, here you are again. Um,
Yeah.
but sometimes I'm not able, and it doesn't happen very often, but 2-3 times a year it does. I'm
Yeah.
unable to break the pattern, this negative pattern. And
Yeah.
that's when I turn to a fellow light worker, a fellow energy healer. And it's like going to the dentist. I can't pull out my tooth. He's got to do
Yeah.
it.
Absolutely.
When I'm going to take you back, I'm sorry I would keep interrupting, but
That's
we're
okay.
going back to energy healing and healing ourselves. So the
Yes.
stories I need to have from you a more pragmatic, a more concrete example. Right. So maybe you can
Absolutely.
make up a Miss X or Mr. Y and say, he came to me for this, that, and the other thing. This is
Yeah.
how we approached it, and the result was this, that, and the other thing. Let's say a positive case and a not so positive case when it
Okay.
worked very well beyond your expectations, or
Absolutely.
when it just didn't work at all and you were confounded, you just didn't know. Can you do that? Am I catching you
Yeah.
off guard?
That's okay. So positive.
Mm-hmm.
I had a client come into me and she lived a good life as far as good will take her. I mean, she had a loving family, grew up good, went to good school, but she did struggle with her confidence, her self-esteem. When she looked at herself in the mirror, she did not feel pretty. There was something about her that just was, she compared herself to everyone around her.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of tried to dive deeper. Did your parents put a heavy expectation on you? Where might have this have stemmed from? And she grew up in a school where she was different. She looked
In
different.
what way? In
She
what way?
looked different. Yeah, she was a different ethnicity. She went to a
Uh-huh.
predominantly white school,
Mm-hmm.
and she was darker skinned.
Uh-huh.
And so that was where
That was
she
one.
first discovered, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that maybe I'm not pretty because I'm surrounded by people that don't look like me.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was like, let's rewrite your story because you are beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's beautiful in their own unique ways. But sometimes it's hard for us to see that when we're not surrounded by people that look like us. We
Oh,
start to we start to write a story that tells ourselves we're not beautiful and we're not enough because
yeah.
everyone else around us
So
looks
how
different.
does the rewriting process begin?
Yeah, so we did a little bit of everything. First, we just tapped into sound healing only. I said, I just want you to lie here and relax.
So
And when
this was
I said
an
in
in-person
person,
encounter. Uh-huh.
yes. hmm Just lie here and relax. Listen to the sound frequencies of the bowls and just allow yourself to be. And
Okay.
so we did that. And then we jumped
Yeah.
into a guided visualization. I said, I want
Yeah.
you to bring yourself to
I
your
want you
mind's.
to breathe. What did you say? Breathe.
I wanted her to bring
Bring.
a visual of herself in her mind's eye.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And I said, however you are, however you would like to see yourself, your
Mm-hmm.
highest version of yourself. And so I said, and just sit with that for a little bit, see what feelings and emotions come up for you.
Mm-hmm.
So then we did that while I gave her Reiki.
Uh-huh.
And then I said, I want you to bring the version of yourself that is all loving, all
Mm-hmm.
forgiving, all knowing, and embody that. I want you to see yourself in that light, and I want you to feel that light traveling through your body.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I know, and I am very confident that you can start to find these ways of self discovery that's going to make you begin to fall in love with yourself.
Okay, so a process of visualization, we could
Visualization.
call it probably. And how long did
Yes.
this take? Was this one session or a series of sessions?
A series of sessions.
Uh-huh.
So we would end a session and I said, I want you to find one thing that makes yourself feel beautiful or that makes you feel
Mm-hmm.
alive. Come back to me. We'll talk about that. So I
Okay.
gave her a series of prompts and tasks that she could do on her own that I wasn't saying, I want you to do X, Y, and Z. I said,
Okay.
do something, find something, create something, and then come back and tell me how that felt for you. Did you
Okay.
discover something new about
Okay.
yourself that way?
So this was
Yeah.
say one meeting and then the next and the next. Before you started, did you already decide how many? I mean, did you offer her a package of three? You had maybe an intake session, sort of a conversation or an interview, and then you decided, okay, this woman would benefit from three sessions, or uh,
Yeah.
we'll try one, see how it goes, and then we'll take. How did you? I don't want to use the word sell, but it is a sale. How did you
Yeah.
promote it to her?
I always do a consult just to see
Uh-huh.
if energetically they align with me.
Right,
If not,
exactly. Very
I want
important.
to
Yeah.
I want to make sure that they feel comfortable and aligned with me. And if
Mhm.
they don't, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just means that there's someone else out there that will
Sure,
be able to help them in
sure.
ways that maybe
Hmm.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
So I always do a consult, see where they're at. And then I do say that I always recommend more than one session
Hmm.
because it takes a while to rewrite our stories. I would love to say that you just have to see me one time and then you're gonna be
Hmm.
okay.
Uh-huh.
So I say the amount of sessions is completely up to them, and they
Hmm.
can keep coming back as long as they'd
Sure.
like.
Hmm.
And then I work out pricing plans for them. If they're
Okay.
like, I really love doing this and I don't want to stop,
Yeah.
then I'll either offer discounts or their
Okay.
next set of six. I
Okay.
always try to be accommodating for
Uh-huh.
people.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah.
So now we're there is this emerging profession, this emerging skill that you have, the writer of poetry. When did that start?
In grade school, and I
Uh-huh.
had no idea that I was a poet.
Hmm.
It just started off as a writing assignment in
Hmm.
English class. We were to write a poem, And the energy that my teacher felt and the emotions that I was able to conjure through my poems really moved my teacher. And she's like, I really think you have a natural gift for writing.
Mm-hmm.
And, at that age, whatever is said to you as a child, whether it's
Yeah.
good or bad, it clicks.
It clicks.
And
Sure,
that
sure.
clicked for me.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
really made me feel special and like,
Good.
wow,
Oh, you
maybe I
were
do have
lucky. You were
a
lucky because
gift.
it's not always the case that teachers are positive in that way, especially
Yes.
at a young formative age.
Yeah.
So you do have a book, is that
Mhm.
correct? And
I do.
the title of it is
Ocean.
Ocean. Okay, when did
Ocean.
you write that? What year?
That was wrote in 2021.
Yeah.
And then I submitted it for publishing in 2022. And then
Uh-huh.
it was finally published in December of 2022.
Okay, so recently.
Recently, yes,
Good,
it's
good.
new.
And where could we find this? Because I don't have this on my one sheet here. I don't have and you could people could find it on Amazon, I imagine, right?
Yes, it's
Mm-hmm.
on Amazon. You just search Ocean by Anastasia Lindsey.
Uh-huh.
It's
Ocean
a
by
pretty blue
Anastasia
cover.
Lindsey. Okay, pretty
Yeah,
blue cover. Good.
pretty blue
Um,
cover.
of all the things that you offer people, offer
Mhm.
clients, um, let's say I'm going to put myself in the position of being a client, a potential client. Okay. I'm a
Okay.
person that has done all of these things the same. In many ways, I've done many of the things that you have been doing. But for
Yeah.
some reason, I just recently I've been meeting strange people. I'm making up this situation. I've been
Okay.
meeting strange people who just have rubbed me the wrong way. And the let's say the reaction to that was I stopped writing. I had a book underway. I was running through the chapters, and all of a sudden, I sat back and I started watching too many binging on Netflix TV series, and I just dropped everything. I started
Yeah.
eating more. I not that I was lazy because I did walk and I did a lot of physical things, but I felt like I was getting off track. So this is what I write to you. I go to your website. I say, Anastasia, this is my world, and I do offer hypnosis because I work with past life regression. But when
Yeah.
you can't seem to, our eyes only look one way, so we generally don't have the possibility of putting up a mirror and clearing
Yeah.
ourselves. So what would you suggest for me?
Absolutely. So I would first say that always take what comes to you as a learning opportunity.
Okay.
So you might say, I've fallen off track and I've done X, Y, and Z. There's definitely an opportunity to learn there.
Mm-hmm.
So check in and see, maybe there's a pattern that you're not picking up on. Maybe your body's really wanting you to check back in with yourself. Maybe there's some alignment that we have to do. So I always say there's a reason for everything. So if you're coming to me and you've lost track of your writing, you've been binge eating, watching videos, just fallen off the path that you wanted to be on, maybe there's something within you that's fallen out of alignment.
Okay, so when you
And
say
so
out of alignment and being in alignment, can you clarify that a little bit?
yeah. So I always like to use our bodies. Um, I use the example as like a car or a musical instrument. You have to
Mm-hmm.
tune that musical instrument
Sure,
before you play.
sure.
And we can drive our cars to X, Y, and Z, but we still have to take them into the shop if it's not really getting us to our
Right, sure,
destination. And our
right.
bodies are the exact same way. Misalignments happen, whether it is running into people
Tuning up.
that,
You need a
yeah,
tune-up. All
you
right,
need a
that's what you would
tune
say.
up.
You need a tune-up.
Yeah.
All right,
You
good.
do.
All right,
And
then
so our bodies are no different than that. And sometimes it takes other people to tell you, like, hey, maybe you just need a tune up. Maybe there's just something
Anastasia,
that's falling.
could
Yeah,
you belt out a couple of bars so we can hear your voice?
sure. Oh,
Ah,
what can I
go
sing?
ahead. Anything, anything.
Okay. Okay. You were young, you was old, stole the light from your eyes. You've been trying to let go of him, but is there a sun in your side?
Well, an angelic voice, not only an angelic soul. Thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure. And I'm going to add all of this information and hope that people will be able to find you. You have a great day, and I hope to have you back sometime.
Thank you. I would love that. Thank you so much.
Great, great.